going out there, YouTube?
What's up out there, YouTube?
This is SCL0220.
This is Joe Johnson 030.
So we are back, making up JVS for a non-spoiler review for the next movie in the X-Men franchise, X-Men Apocalypse. Coming off of X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past, and now we got this. And director Bryan Singer is back for it. This is a new school version because you got characters such as Jean Grey making an appearance, Cyclops, Mystique is back and Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Holt's back as Beast, and it's a whole different platform for these characters on a grander scale. And I think even the budget kind of shows that in a lot of different ways. Whether they executed it well enough, that's what we're going to go into. So, what did we think about the movie, though? Because it's been a lot of buzz that people saying they didn't like it. People mixed bag, they said they loved it. Where did we kind of fit in the middle with this show? What was your take on X-Men Apocalypse?
Oh man, I love this movie. Yeah. The reason why, one of the things that I liked about, well, for starters, let's say the trailers, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the trailers don't necessarily reveal much as to what takes place in this movie, which I think is actually good for a superhero movie because, I mean, what takes place, you're completely left wide open as far as what you should expect.
Yeah.
The entire movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought the special effects were on point. The story, the plot were on point. And I mean, what we talked about kind of like before was like how we felt about it being a young X-Men group taking on Apocalypse. After watching the movie, it wasn't a huge concern like that. I feel pretty good about it. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
If at all.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So.
Because like when we were talking about it, we were like, how are these new X-Men that aren't trained able to really beat something that is unstoppable in a sense? Especially, I mean, when we talk about visual effects, I mean, when you look at like what Apocalypse can do with his powers, what he can do to other mutants. And even Oscar Isaac in his performance behind it, I mean, I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, this dude's going to be looking so terrible. Because, I mean, you know, we came from the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an 80s baby, just whatever. But, like, we remember the 90s X-Men series. Right. You know, we have a concept of what Apocalypse is supposed to look like. And this is not the conventional version, but I wasn't, like, bothered by the look. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a matter of fact, I think that I have to acknowledge the fact that I didn't see Oscar Isaac. I saw this version of Apocalypse. Their version, their incarnation of Apocalypse. Yeah. Just like any of the other X-Men or other superhero movies, it's always going to be a different incarnation of what they actually look like. Yeah. We're not going to be able to be spoon-fed exactly what the characters would look like. And I think that was initially my problem. I got over that really soon. And not just that. In the trailers, they kind of had like his voice kind of like this huge pitch. I liked the way his voice resonated. Because you couldn't tell how much power he really had. Yeah. With any given thing that he did, it was like, wow, I'm finding out more and more and more. But I think the thing that counterbalanced it in terms of powers is these new mutants. Like, I mean, well, new and old mutants. You know what I'm saying? Like, specifically like Jean Grey or Scott Summers, where they are not in full control. And that is the most dangerous of mutants. Because they're out of control. You know, it's like... when I looked at, what was that, the first Avengers movie, you know what I'm saying? And even when I looked at the Incredible Hulk movie, he was basically like, maybe I can aim the Hulk in the prospect of what he can do. And maybe something with that I'll keep with it. And I felt that with every single fight sequence. I mean, the fight sequences are awesome. Like, I really enjoyed the fight sequences. We don't want to go into too many spoilers, but, I mean, you see everybody getting it in.
I mean, one thing I'll say about us, same as you as far as like the look of Apocalypse, once they reveal, like you get a glimpse of his power, the way he looks is just like, this goes out the window. You're like, you don't even care, because this guy, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This dude can do what? Like, effortlessly?
Yeah.
And not only that, but the first scene where they're kind of showing, like, the origin of him, it was just nuts, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is intense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's move on to, I guess, since we've talked about the visuals, even the sound. I actually really like the soundtrack for this. I think that it flowed naturally. The tone of the cinematics. I think that there are a lot of moments in this movie where they take you to kind of a dream sequence or kind of like somebody having like flashes or semblances of the past or the present. And I think that that's paying homage to like Days of Future Past and the way that it was actually shot and cinematography wise. It was like the tone was always there that I was like the stakes are high. Like I never felt like, man, this person is untouchable. Man, this person is not going to die. Maybe Scott and maybe Jean, but that was it. Like anybody else I figured could have died, you know, and I love that about the tone of the cinematics for this movie. But we got to give credit where credit's due. Like the cast is actually really good. I mean, Oscar Isaac, yeah, we've already acknowledged him, but even like you got Sansa Stark up in there as Jean Grey. Oh my gosh, this to me, that was the main thing I really wanted to say in this review is that they got Jean Grey perfect. That's all I can really say. I mean, I might be the only one to say that out of any other critic, whatever. But I tell you, I know Jean Grey. I know her full potential of her powers, and it gets self-fulfilled in this. And the ramifications of her powers, like it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. But even Scott, like this is the best Cyclops that we've actually had.
That's a good point.
And the actor is actually a good actor.
Because I think in the like previous like movies, X-Men movies, Cyclops was very underrated.
I mean, I didn't care about Cyclops in the movies at all.
But if you like think about his character, like his character he's powerful as a mutant.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think they did a good job with Cyclops in this movie too.
This might have been the best. In all honesty, I mean, that's not anything against James Masters. I mean, but the way that they positioned and used his character, it wasn't like a plot device. Yeah. Like coming against Jean and Wolverine. Like Wolverine wasn't a factor in this movie, you know what I'm saying? So I really love what they did with Scott. Even the evolution of Professor Xavier and Magneto. Oh my gosh. Michael Fassbender in this one, he has some of the most compelling sequences and crazy things that happen to him that it just downright breaks your heart. And it is like, I don't know, man. Like, I love the way that they position his character. If I look from First Class and I look to now and see what this man have gone through, it's like, wow. But even Professor X, like, the way that they reveal how Professor X actually becomes bald, bro, it's untouchable to me. I don't know. What was one of the more favorite things that you had as far as characters that we haven't named yet? Because there's a few, but I wanted to leave those for you.
Oh, dude.
Because there's some people that come back, and then there's some newcomers.
I mean, for me, Cyclops, definitely one of my favorites. Four Horsemen, Storm, being one of them.
Yes,
oh my gosh,
they got her right.
They did.
She had an accent.
All good. I was just like, what's his name? Guy with the wings.
Oh, Angel.
Angel. Like I saw the trailers and I was like, what's this guy gonna do? Bruh, this guy is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they did pretty much all the characters. I enjoyed all of them. Like there wasn't one that I was like, I don't think that they could like take out the movie, be the same.
Yeah.
All of them were there. They gave good reason why each character was there.
Yeah.
All of them, in a sense, were used properly as far as the strength of their powers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can really say is a lot of people have been giving rank about Jennifer Lawrence and her not wanting to be there and that. The thing that I'll say to that, to comment off of it, if you look at X-Men First Class and you see where she is now, you'll understand why the character Raven and Jennifer Lawrence is playing to that cater. Basically, the character herself is vexed. She has gone through seeing humanity suffer and seeing mutants suffer, and she's an agent of war in and of itself. Now, I will say this, I mean, Mystique doesn't do a lot of action-packed sequences, But they really do add Jennifer Lawrence as a platform to be a leader in a more sort of leadership kind of role, especially coming off of Days of Future Past, in a really positive way in comparison to like the old 1999 version of X-Men where she was kind of like the catalyst of war. So I really do like the way that Bryan Singer did that, and that just goes forward with the story. I think the story was good. I didn't really have a problem with the story as far as structurally. From the beginning, the opening sequence, I was like, yo. Because like they show some of the first X-Men, or not X-Men, but mutants in general. Yeah. And like, bro, like this is some of the most savage stuff. I was like, where's the tone of this movie going? Because I was like, this is like bordering on Deadpool kind of violence.
Yeah. I mean, that drink made my jaw drop.
Yeah.
Like in the theater. I was like, are they going to be... Are these characters going to be throughout the movie?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, they might be some of my new favorite characters.
But I mean, it all plays into the mythology of the Horsemen. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, even though those characters did all that, it's nothing in comparison when I think about the scope of the characters he actually had. Because, like, the CG and the effects, you know what I'm saying, are one thing that can take you out of the element of understanding. But I had to pull myself back. I was like, wait, now, I'm watching ground and metal move in the air. What happens to all those humans that are down there? They're dying. And that's the thing, like, I gotta take into realization, like, man, these are just 4 mutants. And, like, they are wrecking stuff. It's so crazy. And the thing is, reality of it all is that Apocalypse could have wiped everybody off. Everyone. Like, that's the thing that I liked about the story, is that the stakes were very high. Xavier knew who he was. Magneto was brought to his knees from a crippling situation, and Apocalypse had his own agenda, and he's pitting them against each other for his own personal cause, which is understandable when you start to understand how he's getting all the information he's known since, 3066 BTC or something like that. So I think that they did a really good job in the end. I don't know, man. I liked it. I didn't have a real problem. What would you rate it as far as the number?
I would give this, as a movie, I'd give it a 9. I definitely give it a 9. Solid 9.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, y'all probably are gonna hate me, but I give this like 5 points lower than Batman vs Superman for me. I give it an 8 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed this film. Do I like it better than Days of Future Past?
That's tough.
I can't say that I necessarily do, but the payoff, even in the extra credit sequence, the Jean Grey sequences, Angel, all the new characters and the old, and the way that they use them. Nightcrawler! They brought Nightcrawler with his accent! Like, he's one of the most comedic, funniest moments in the actual movie. And they do him justice. The thing about it is, if I really had to make this comparison, I didn't do this with other movies, but if I looked at Age of Ultron versus looking at this movie capitalized on Age of Ultron in every way because the stakes were high. They meant something. The story was plutonic and it was heartfelt, and you feel for each person individually and collectively because they take just enough amount of time to do that. Were there certain moments where, like Psylocke and like Storm, you know, like they didn't have as much dialogue, but you understood their presence there, giving what the mutants are going through. And that's the thing, like, that's what I'll debate with anybody, is that given the circumstance of what these characters are actually really going through and what they've gone through, it's all justified. Like, even if they have dialogue or not, they are in the moment and you're actually seeing them and witnessing them. And I enjoyed it, man. I really did. Yeah. So, I guess we're going to try to do a small spoiler review. But if not, we'll do it a little bit later on in the week. I got to do some stuff this weekend. Hopefully y'all enjoyed our non-spoiler review for X-Men Apocalypse. Got anything else, Joe?
Nah, that's it.
All right, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Y'all have a blessed one.
Yep.
Peace.